Hi everybody, this is video 3. My name is Pop Princess on YouTube, so I figured I'd do some pop culture things. And one of the biggest comedy sitcoms in the 1980s, started in the 1980s, finished in the 1990s, was The Golden Girls. Starred B. Arthur, Rue McClanahan, Betty White, and Estelle Getty. Sadly, we lost Betty White in the end of 2021 because she was a couple months shy of her 100th birthday. Um, so yeah, but I remember when I was really young watching it on Saturday night and just being amazed at these middle-aged, I don't know, maybe a little bit older than middle-aged women who lived together and still had full lives and everything. And it was groundbreaking for the time because most people or most women especially in midlife, weren't supposed to talk about certain topics. One of them being sex, and dating and stuff. And most people believed that once you hit a certain age, I, I guess you lost interest or you just didn't do that anymore. I don't know. But it was interesting to see 4 different takes on it because you had Sophia, the oldest one, obviously, who was Dorothy's mother. And so she had lived, you know, been married and lived through her husband's death and everything. And not to say that she didn't have relationships after that, but I don't think she ever loved anybody like Sal. Um, and then we have Blanche DeVoe, or Blanche Dubois, as the sex pot of the group. And what's interesting is, or Blanche DeVoe. I'm sorry, I got my characters confused. Okay, there's Blanche DeBois and A Streetcar Named Desire. Um, okay, so, but what's interesting is that originally it was given to Betty White to do the character of Blanche, and for Rue McClanahan to do the character of Rose. But there were 2 reasons why that wasn't done that way. Because Betty White was convinced that everybody would think it would be the second coming of Sue Ann Nivens from the Mary Tyler Moore Show. So she didn't want to do that. Plus, she said that she never regretted it because Rue McClanahan took it in a place that she would never thought to go with it. So, as I say, I guess it turned out the way it was supposed to go. Um, but then there was Dorothy Spornak with a Z, um, who married Stan. And the story is she married him because she got pregnant by accident, and they had a shotgun wedding. But that doesn't come out until that comes out in the first episode, kind of. But then it also rapidly gets brought up that he left her for a stewardess. So, um, so I guess you could say the character of Dorothy was or is smart, but also because I don't know if you know this phrase, but once bitten, twice shy. So I guess you get messed over one time. You're kind of careful what you do the second time, or ever again, actually. Um, But I think that she lived in a state of fear and just kind of doubt, assuming that people would just want to use her and stuff. Which, okay, there's a way to go, but at some point you have to live life. So, luckily, but see, here's the thing. I wanted all the characters to end up together with somebody if they wanted that, but not because they felt like they had to. But the thing with Dorothy is that they always put her with men that she had no like future with at all. One time they put her with a priest. Another time she was dating a married man. Another time she was dating somebody. I forget. But I mean, like you name it, the guy had issues. And not to say that every other guy that was in the series had issues either, because if you look at it, like Rose Nyland, which is a character played by Betty White, was given the role of thinking like a child. So sometimes people would use her kindness and think that she was kind of like not smart enough to understand what they were talking about, and therefore they would use that to their advantage also. But I think that out of all of them, okay, Sophia had boyfriends, but like I said, she never intended to get married again. Uh, Rose had a boyfriend almost the whole time. I mean, it seems like to me she went from long term to long term for someone who's over a certain age, I guess. And then Dorothy, I just talked about, and Blanche was the one who she married George, and the story goes she knew she was going to marry George, and then when George died, it broke her apart. But she always had the ability to like move on to another relationship, and I kind of like that about her because okay, some people could say she's flighty, but then other times you say like she can get back from something and she'll always recover. So that I like that about her. Um, of course, the first episode was really funny, and I bring this up because it highlights what character Blanche is, who she is. Um, she's convinced that she's gonna marry this guy, Harry. Turns out Harry's a bigamist, but she didn't know that. So then, of course, she feels bad and she says, I'm an old fool. But then they all convince her that no, it's not a bad thing. You just trust people. And that's a good quality to have. So I think, I've said this before, but I think a good show, no matter what genre or whatever you put it in, if it can encapsulate everything it's about in the first episode, you got a winner on your hands. Because it tells you everything you need to know. It tells you characters, it tells you where they are in their life, it tells you the relationships between other people, it tells you everything you need to know. And then as an audience, you can decide to either come in or just step out. So, there's my little homage to the Golden Girls.